You know, most student jobs that you can do while being a teenager in high school are actually a scam. They are stealing your time and they are paying you badly. And rather than doing one of these, you could monetize your grades, your good grades, and make 2 to 3 times as much as you would make from working in a supermarket or something similar. Yeah. When we came to Germany, I was born in Uzbekistan actually. We were quite broke. My parents, their degrees weren't recognized here in Germany. Both of my parents are engineers, and therefore they had to start from the rock bottom. And I was like 2 to 3 years old, or no, 3 to 4 years old actually at this time. And um, this was the reason why, when I was a teenager myself, when I was 15, I decided that I wanted to take on a job myself because I knew that the money that my parents were earning was very hard earned money. Yeah. And when they were giving me like 10 to 20 euros when I was, I don't know, doing something with my friends, I actually felt bad about it, you know? Not because they told me that I should feel bad. I just felt bad because I knew, damn, that's quite a lot of money for them. And I did not want to take it away from them, you know? And therefore, when I was 15, um, I decided to start to work, and um, the point was as well that the friends that were surrounding me, especially like my best friends in like in high school, they had money. Yeah, their parents were I wouldn't say they were rich, but they were driving good cars and they had money, and the activities that we wanted to do together, especially when we started to grow up, like becoming like 16, 17, and we wanted to go party and stuff like that, we were needing some money for that, you know? And which is why I decided to not, um, yeah, put the responsibility on my parents in this regard, but I took it on myself. And um, my first job that I ever did was actually distributing newspapers, because this was like something I heard about that others were doing, and therefore I thought, okay, damn, I'll do that myself. And it turned out that this was a total scam. Yeah, I mean, it could be because of the company I worked for, but I was paid so little money. Yeah, I received like 50 to 80 bucks for around, I don't know, 7 to maybe 10 hours of work per week. Yeah, it was like a total scam because I received those magazines, and I, before distributing them, I had to kind of sort them in a certain order so it would make sense to basically not go in zigzag here on the streets, but rather have some kind of structure um, when distributing. And this sorting, it took so much extra time, and I wasn't paid for that. I was just paid for every magazine I distributed, and therefore it was a total scam. And the second job I did was in a pharmacy. Yeah, this was actually a cool thing. I was driving around medicine for old people, bringing this medicine home to them, and I was earning around like yeah, let's say, I think 10 euros per hour, but it was just 1 hour per week. Yeah, around like 1.5 hours per week. So the cool thing about that was that I received a tip, yeah, from the people, from the old people, and so it could be that I earned around like 20 to 30 euros in like 1.5 hours, depending how long the ride was. Sometimes it was an hour, sometimes it was 1.5, or even a little more. But yeah, 20 to 30 euros was possible, and this was okay, I would say. And the third job, I think this was one of the most horrible ones, was in a supermarket. And I think this is something you likely also think about when you are contemplating to take on a job as a teenager. It's very, like, we have supermarkets everywhere, so it's quite a thing that pops into your mind likely. So I tried that, and I did it for like, I think yeah, I think 1 or 2 times per week, and then 3 to 4 hours per time, rather three, and it really made me miserable. Yeah, I was just running around there, stocking the shelves with food, and it was soul sucking. Yeah, really. Every time I left, I felt worse. Yeah, it really drained me. It was very, very unpleasant. Yeah, especially one time I had to, or one or two times I had to wake up very, very early to be before to the supermarket opens at 7. I had to be there at 6 or something. So I woke up at 5 or something. And back then I did not have like I did not yeah, basically think about a clear sleep schedule. So I went to bed rather late. It was horrible. It was really horrible. And the day the contract was over, or I don't remember whether it was terminated or not. However, I was very happy when it ended, and as a job, especially if you're someone who is ambitious and who, likes to work with his head. Um, you won't like that. You won't like that. And from what I remember, it was actually paid quite badly. I don't remember exactly what I earned, but I don't remember that it was paid super well. So, um, yeah, I would not recommend that. And before we continue, I will later map out in this video what I would do instead. Yeah, so you have like a different approach that you can take. And if you want my personal help with improving your grades and making your first 500 to 1K using those grades, yeah, you can click the first link in the description, and there you find a link to book a 1 hour free coaching call with me, where I'll look at your personal situation, tell you exactly what I would do to improve your grades, give you clear strategies, and how I would use those grades to avoid taking one of these jobs and starting to make money yourself from these grades. And to get back to the jobs, another one that I actually tried was fundraising. Maybe you saw those people outside who try to approach you and try to convince you to, yeah, basically donate to the charity that they are representing, and that's a nice thing in a way, because on the one hand you learn social skills. You have to face a lot of rejections, yeah, because 99% of people just ignore you and don't want to talk to you. And I mean, the cause is usually good, because the charities they're standing for are usually like, trying to solve a certain problem, so it's a good thing. But I can tell you, it's still super, super unpleasant. I mean, maybe you're the person for that, but you know I I did it like on 2 occasions, and in both of these occasions the weather was very bad. We were standing outside, it was raining, it was rather, it wasn't cold, but it wasn't that warm from what I remember as well. We were trying to approach people. 90% of people were saying no. Even when we started a conversation with them, they, like, I don't know, after 5 minutes would still say no. And it felt very draining, and also yeah, just hard. I'll be honest, it was just hard, and I did not feel like I wanted to earn my money like that. You know, and I'm making this video also to also save you from experiences like that. I mean, of course, you can say, yeah, this was personal development. Yeah, but you don't need like all of these experiences for personal development. The purpose is also to skip unnecessary experiences, and I believe that those weren't that necessary. So yeah, you you can imagine, you try to speak to people, 90% ignore you. You receive thousands of no's, so it's really unpleasant. Another thing I did was, this was the fifth job I think I took. I was working in the security systems and surveillance shop of the father of my best friend in school. And this was quite nice because, I mean, I wasn't paid very well, but I had a roof over my head, and I sometimes received nice food when they were ordering something. And yeah, basically the main thing I had to do was to translate the website from German to Russian. And back then you did not have AI, obviously. You had like Google Translator, and of course it wasn't working that well. And because I'm like, my mother language is Russian, I basically corrected Google Translator and wrote it out properly. Yeah, this is what I did. And yeah, it was fine. It wasn't very nice, but it wasn't also unpleasant. And compared to the supermarket or the newspapers, this was basically the best job. Yeah. And the sixth thing that I did is that I was working for a club where we actually used to go as well as teenagers, and a bar. Those were basically belonging to the same owners, and I was distributing flyers and yeah, entry bands for people getting in. It was stupid, as whatever. It was stupid as hell. Really, wasn't doing anything um, mentally demanding. Just standing there and distributing the stuff. And I earned like 50 euros per night, so I think 10 euros per hour, which was better than I think most other jobs I did. Um, and the main thing was that I was destroying my sleep schedule. Yeah, you can imagine, because I started at 10 in the evening on Friday and finished like at 3. And usually they were offering, because I was basically working for the club, they were offering me like two free drinks. And sometimes in the evening I was meeting some girls, because yeah, they were getting into the club, and we sometimes talked. And so I was meeting those girls after my shift, basically in the club, and maybe sometimes having like a drink with them, because I had those free drinks, and yeah, then returned home like at 5. This was really, really stupid, because it obviously destroyed my Sunday, sorry, my Saturday the next day. And then usually, until your sleep recovers, it takes like 3 days. So it's nothing I would recommend, especially when you're a teenager. You need to sleep very properly, and I destroyed my sleep through that. And in the winter, like this flyer distribution thing, or generally working outside, you have to consider also the seasons. In the winter, it's so hard. I don't know, maybe you work in California, or you are in, I don't know, in Spain, in Barcelona or something like that. But here in Hamburg, it was so cold. Yeah, sometimes I ordered like a just from the bar. Yeah, I ordered just hot water in a glass so I could warm up my hands, because it was so freaking cold. And of course, I had gloves. I even took shoes from my father with like how was it called? Yeah, that had like special like sheep. I don't know how it's called in English. I forgot the word, but um, they had like this were special shoes that were supposed to keep your feet very warm. And even in these shoes, I felt so cold. Yeah, because yeah, working outside in the night in the winter is just yeah, horrible. Yeah, so it was also soul sucking, because it was destroying my sleep. Very stupid work. And yeah, I also got that experience. I think now we are at the seventh thing that I did, and this was actually working in a call center. And this was one I was actually very grateful for. And the reason is because I had a roof over my head again. It wasn't raining, it wasn't cold, and it wasn't paid like well, as from what I remember. And I was just paid for calling random people and trying to interview them to get some market data on certain questions. Yeah. And I mean, of course, I learned some things. I learned like handling objections and stuff like that. But honestly, it was brain dead, and yeah, it wasn't paid well. And but I still, honestly, I'm grateful for this job, because compared to the other things like the supermarket thing, or the flyer distribution, or the fundraising thing, this was like 10 times better, honestly, because again, it was straightforward what I had to do. And I enjoy talking to people, and therefore it was kind of okay. But still, if you're optimizing for return on invest, and return on invest, I mean time and the money you're getting from the time, and also ideally what you personally take away from the time invested, it's not a ideal thing. And we'll get to what I would do instead, and what I would recommend you as an option to pursue. Now, another thing I did was actually organizing parties and DJing. Yeah, I'm a DJ, and I started to DJ when I was close to finishing high school. And actually, I was DJing at one party in a club, and I got spotted by a guy who was basically working in a company that was doing like parties in Hamburg, and in particular teenage parties. And he connected me to the CEO of one of Hamburg's like most prestigious clubs back then. And he basically proposed me to work together. So he would help me to push my DJ thing forward, and I would basically help them to get clients for his company that was doing graduation parties, because I had a network of students, obviously. And also he later proposed me to organize my own teenage parties, and I would get like some money from that. Yeah. And this became an extra income of mine, actually. So I started to lead promoter teams and to build promoter teams, um, yeah, mostly of teenagers and girls who had like a large Instagram following, and they would get like free entrance and yeah, also drinks for promoting those parties. Yeah. And my party line was called New Wave. And yeah, through those parties, I was actually able to earn like, I don't know, I think like 100 to 200 euros per party. So not a lot, but for me as a student, that seemed like damn crazy, yeah. And this was kind of cool because I was partying myself. My friends were partying myself. I could invite my friends for free, and I could also advance my DJ career. So yeah, this was then another income source. And also through my DJing, I started to earn money through like DJing on birthdays and some events and stuff like that. So let's get to the truth about these jobs. Yeah. So the most of these jobs were brain dead. Yeah, and emotionally exhausting because they weren't engaging. And in addition to that, they were low paid, and I only did it. This is the thing you have to think about. Um, I only was pursuing them because I needed money and I wanted to be independent from my parents. Yeah. And I think from what I remember, the wage of a student job is even lower than the minimum wage. Yeah, so you earn like, I don't know. I think I earned around like 650 to 8 euros per hour on in most of these jobs, and I didn't learn anything. I just was exchanging my time for very little money. And of course, again, you can argue that there was some personal development in that, but I don't think that this kind of personal development was worth it. Yeah, I don't think it was worth it. So let's talk about what I would do instead. Okay, instead of pursuing these kinds of jobs. So what I would do is I would ask myself the question: how can I earn more without investing more time? Okay, and I was working around, I think, as I said already, between like 5 to 10 hours per week, depending on the week and on the work I did, and so on and so forth. But I think this was the range. Now, without investing more than these 5 to 10 hours, how can I earn more? Because actually, I was earning around 200 euros per month, which was not a lot at all. I mean, for a student, it's fine, but it's not a lot. I think a lot starts from like 500 onwards. If you have 500 euros per month to your disposal that you can invest, that you can buy books from, that you can buy educational programs from, that you can, I don't know, save for a certain trip you want to make or to do, yeah. If we are talking about these things, 500 euros is awesome. It's a great starting point. So this is the first question: what can I do to earn more without investing more time? Yeah, and of course, then ideas might pop up in your mind, like starting a business or an agency, and so on and so forth. But assuming that you want good income, yeah, and also rather quickly, yeah, I think there is another way that can actually provide you that, because from my understanding, if you start an agency, it will work maybe in a half a year, maybe even after a year, but it will take likely way more time than you yeah, likely more than 10 to 15, I think likely more than 10 hours to close your client, and also to learn the skills and stuff like that. So it can be a valid option that you like can pursue, but I think it will take more time, and it will also require like a certain investment from you up front, to buy a certain course or mentoring or coaching to start this kind of agency that you think. And also there is of course the question how much you will enjoy it. Yeah, personal fit, and I already discussed the subject in some of my videos, rather in the shorts. But personal fit, it's also a very important thing. Will you like it or not? Is it something you will maybe basically hate doing? Yeah, so it can be an option, but maybe an option for a later point in time. And um, right now you likely are 15, 16, maybe 17, so you will be graduating in a few years. And right now it's a very important time to think about your future, yeah, and also about the next 5 to 10 years and what position you want to bring your future self. What options would you like that your future self has? What deep knowledge and expertise would you like your future self to have? What network would you like your future self to have? And also, what experiences would you like your future self to have gathered? Yeah, for example, living abroad, studying abroad, I don't know, in America, in Australia, in England, in Germany, wherever you would like to do it, yeah, and stuff like that. And in my personal point of view, for an ambitious person, it makes sense to maximize all these areas, become an expert in a field that you find exciting and enjoyable, to have a network of ambitious and inspiring people that raise your standards, that in 5 to 10 to 20 years will be really moving an industry forward or the future forward in certain fields, yeah, that you can receive help from, consultation from when you need it, and that who also inspire you strongly. And in regard of options, exciting options to yourself move the future forward through, I don't know, working in a breakthrough startup, founding a breakthrough startup, joining a leading consulting company, yeah, to learn important skills and then to build something, or to join a large organization that is responsible for policy, creating policies for millions of people, whatever, becoming a scientist, it doesn't necessarily mean that you already have to choose one of these exact options, but I think it would be very cool to have them open, yeah. And in my opinion, a thing that basically enables most of these things is a very good university. A very good university gives you the network. It gives you usually the opportunity to go abroad. If you choose the right subject, you can gain deep expertise in a certain field. And yeah, as I said, of course, it will also, if you do it properly, open up very cool work opportunities. Yeah. Now, what enables that, yeah, and the top university, usually one of the main things is your very good grades. Yeah. Now you might be in a position where your grades are good or maybe average, and I can tell you from perspective of someone who studied at a very good university and who had good grades, but before having good grades, I had like mediocre grades. I can tell you, it's actually not that hard to obtain very good grades. I mean, the last the last high school exams, they are tough, but in general, like exams in high school are actually not that hard. Yeah, and and here comes a very cool option into play. Yeah, if you would like to unlock this kind of future I just talked about, it makes sense, yeah, to improve your own grades, yeah, and and in this regard, if you improve your own grades and make your grades excellent, you can start monetizing them. How? Through private tutoring that you offer. And you can charge for this private tutoring more than minimum wage. So, for example, in Germany, I think the minimum wage is around 13. I'm doing private tutoring right at this point in time myself, and I'm charging 25. Of course, I'm a university graduate, and of course, I have more expertise and stuff. But this can increase gradually, yeah. So, for example, if you start to charge, I don't know, let's say 15 for the first two clients, then you start to charge 18 for the next three, for the next ones. Then you start to charge 22, and damn, you are like around like 10 euros more than the minimum wage, you know? And if you then gain like 10 clients, for example, and you work with them individually, you can multiply like 10 with 22, so 220 euros per week. Yeah, assuming that you work with everyone once per week, you'll be able to earn just on the side, which amount to around 900 euros per month. Yeah, isn't that incredible? So you improve your own grades to set up your future self for an exciting future, basically, that I just described. And from that, you even capitalize and make extra money from through helping others. Yeah. Isn't that like way nicer than just working in a supermarket? You earn way more, you work around the same time, and you help others. And on top of that, you learn the subject even better, because when you teach, you learn better and you have to understand it better. Yeah. So um, basically, um, you are sitting in school anyway. The time will pass anyway, and um, with improving your own grades, you are trying to basically put your future self in a better position. Yeah, and this is the main idea that I wanna give you. And also another thing, to even increase the income that you're making, you can also start to do group lessons, yeah, with like 3, 4, 5, 6 kids or whatever, and charge less for these. For example, instead of 22 euros, you start to charge, I don't know, 13, for example. But now multiply that by 5, because you have 5 kids, you earn then 50 euros that hour that you've worked together, you know. Or maybe you can even offer like crash groups, um, which means preparing them for an exam, okay, in a group of 5, and then doing like a 3-hour session. It's like 150 euros in one day. So this is, I think, a very attractive small business model, which you can have based on your own very good grades, because it doesn't require like capital. You can, I believe, get clients rather quickly. The one thing that takes some time is improving your own grades. Yeah, this might take some time, but after you got to a decent level, you can start. And since you are paid like usually by lesson, you will get also like cash immediately. Yeah. So last point in this regard is, you also don't have to teach everything. Yeah. For example, you can just specialize, or what it means specialize, but you can say, hey, for example, I like English the most, and I like, I don't know, math the most, and I teach only these 2 subjects, and everything else I don't teach. And then you help students only with these subjects that you enjoy the most and have, I don't know, the best grades in. You might, of course, have very good grades in everything, but there likely are subjects that you enjoy more than the others. So you can focus just on these. So it's even more enjoyable than likely any other student job that you could do. And again, when I was doing those student jobs, I was earning around like 200 per month, and you could do like the 4 times, almost 5 times as much with around the same effort. Yeah, but in the meantime, set your future self up in a way better position, and yeah, gain more money. Yeah, and if you want my help with that, improving your grades and also turning that into a tutoring business, but also understanding better what exciting opportunities your grades are able to unlock for you, you can click the first link in the description, and there you will find a link to book a 1-hour free coaching call with me, where I help you for 1 hour for free. And I look at your personal situation. I tell you what tactics, what approach I would use to improve your grades, and also tell you what you can do to actually turn that into an income, and save yourself from all the unpleasant things that I had to go through by doing all those student jobs, and earn way more than I did at this point in time. Yeah. Looking forward to welcome you in the call, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.